And welcome to the Town Outdoor Show. Was that the clue? The cue?
When he points at you and says...
I was reading something on Facebook. I wasn't paying any attention. I was reading a press release from this thing. Anyway, I'm Charlie.
JD.
I'm Fred.
Captain Paul Tire.
And I'm Grant.
Yeah, everybody's got a microphone. Everything's going good. Paul's in the studio today.
That's usually a bad sign. Something bad's going to happen, man. Ceiling tiles are going to fall in or something here.
So, yeah, I was reading the press release that the sheriff over in Jackson, my sheriff, had put out on Facebook. And so yesterday I got, Thursday, I got to go and participate in an action that, I went back. I'm a reserve deputy over in Jackson County now, just as my little retirement fun thing to go do and help out training. And I got to participate in a major operation that the sheriff's office put together in conjunction with all of the alphabet agencies and the other local agencies and stuff. And they went out, and I think as of the recording of this show, I think 20 of the 22 people that they went after were arrested. I got to be part of it again. And it's been, 8 years, JD, since probably.
Maybe.
I ain't got to do anything,
I've been retired from the sheriff's office for 10 years and 10 and a half years.
It's been
10 and
that long?
a half years.
Well,
yeah.
it was really
Time flies
interesting.
when you're having fun, Fred.
I guess it does.
It was really interesting seeing all that occur firsthand again, and being able to for the last 8 years I couldn't point a gun at anybody without it being aggravated assault. So I had the authority. I just I didn't have to. But
Did you get to point the gun?
Well, I had a gun. I didn't point it at anybody.
But you threatened to.
I thought about it.
Yeah.
I was ready to. I'm just saying.
You say if you don't do what I say, I'm gonna point this gun at you.
But I got to see some of today's cops, young professional cops from all different levels, from patrol, canine, highway patrol, the DEA, all these people working together, and seamlessly, I might add, and taking people off the streets in a year-long investigation that they put together with federal and local indictments. It's on Facebook at the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, and seeing that and talking to the public and family members of people who were involved. Some were very upset, some were very appreciative of the professionalism that they observed. I talked with one gentleman for probably a couple hours out on the scene, who expressed his appreciation of how professional he was treated. I thought it was pretty cool. Of course, it was me talking to him, so I don't know what else you would expect except professional, polite behavior. For me, I've never done anything other than that.
I couldn't imagine.
But it was, and it was funny to see some of the, I don't know if you know this or not, but it's a political year now, and to see some of the opposition, they just jump out and, this is bad, this is bad. I don't get it, but I had the best time I've had in a while getting to go out and play cop again. Now, I am fully certifiable, Fred.
Oh, yeah, that's what I am.
Yeah. And anyway, so I just want to thank all of the ones involved for letting me play along. I'm the old guy with the gray beard over there,
Was it a drug case?
Yeah.
So it's a conspiracy?
I don't know. I didn't look at the stuff. They said, here's the person we're getting. There's the name. Here's where we're going. And I did.
But
I did my job.
They were all the same
case.
Same case.
Yeah. You can read the release. I think it is all interrelated somehow. I'm pretty sure.
Is it federal or state?
The press release says that there are federal and local, state indictments.
Okay.
You looking for clients?
Well, I'm always looking for clients with money, but
there's a list of names right here.
Yeah, if you provide that to me on the break.
I made sure that I knew none of the details of any of the case investigation at all.
Let me text my reverend right here.
I am a quasi-public figure. I don't want to. I'm here to do the duty. Point me in the right direction. I'll make sure that I do everything with discretion.
Served an arrest warrant.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know anything.
Did you have to do any paperwork?
No, which is why I didn't see anything.
I would have appreciated if you'd have just given me a heads up that y'all gonna be serving warrants in the area, so I could get one of those rental planes where you fly the banner behind. Call Fred.
Call Fred. Reasonable doubt for a reasonable price.
Well, Fred, there is a common thread, as you know, with most people who are involved in this type of business transaction out on the streets, is they've been down this road before.
Yep.
You don't often go after somebody and go, every once in a blue moon you'll hear, they don't have a criminal record. Almost always it's.
They were most of the time they were just about to start to try to get their life together.
Yeah, almost. They were thinking about it.
They were just about
According
to
to
start.
Grandma, they were
About to start thinking about trying to get their life together.
Well, the smart ones actually, have a fund set aside for the lawyer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
The lawyer emergency.
That's
fund.
lawyer money, emergency room money, lawyer money.
Well, based on
doctor in the back
based
room.
on the pictures in the press release, and I just keep referring to the press release, so I don't release anything I might not be supposed to. Is that from the cash and all laying on the table, somebody's attorney fund got seized.
Yeah, he must not have been too smart because he didn't set it aside in the right place. You don't keep it at your house.
If you say
No,
so.
that would not be a good idea.
I mean, that's where they're going to arrest
That's
you.
operational funds. That's not
Yeah.
lawyer down the road funds.
Right. That's
It is.
That's what stays at grandma's house.
It's deep in an underground bunker in a non-specified location.
To see the surprise on some people's faces when you walk up to like 8 or 10 people standing there and you point to them and go, "You come here," and call them by their name.
Who, me?
And they're like, "Oh." You just see the expression on their face change, like, "Dang, it's my day." And the rest of them, the sense of relief, like, "Whew."
Man, I don't know what they got him for, but I got to go.
and not to make light. I mean, you have to find the satisfaction in doing the job and doing it correctly, but at the same time, not to make light of the fact that there's a lot of people out there that are suffering from, people that abuse drugs. That's on them. But there's poison on the streets today. I mean, with fentanyl and everything else out there, it's not. I mean, it's worse than crack cocaine and.
Oh, no, there's no question about it. I mean, you go buy a street drug now, you don't know what you're getting. I mean,
right, and so the people who are involved in that trade, it's more dangerous than it's been. Back in the day, it's weed kills. It doesn't. I mean, I don't smoke it. I hate it. I despise it, but they don't kill you. But you know what they put in that crap now? That
yeah, they lace it.
Yeah, and so you don't know what you're.
That's happened.
Oh yeah, we've gone out.
Happened here.
Back when we were
Gaston County, not too long ago. People were lacing weed with fentanyl. Killed a couple of folks.
Well, and there were people we were arresting when I was still with Leon County that would break in a house scared to death, thinking somebody was coming to get them, and all they had done is smoke some weed.
Yeah.
And I remember one guy down off of Roberts Avenue kicked in the door, ran in the house, jumped into bed with a couple, and was scared to death. They're coming to get me.
That was me.
Yeah. You don't fit that description there, Fred. And then there was one out in the middle of the woods that got separated. Him and his buddy had smoked some weed together, and he got scared to death, and he ran off, climbed the fence, went and broke in the front door of somebody's house and tried to get in. Homeowner shot at him. He ran away. Now he's really running, and seized him up, and he's like, "They're trying to get me." And the whole point, he wasn't trying to break in a house. He was trying to get away from something, and and it was because there was something in that weed he smoked.
Wow.
What did the couple do when the dude ran in there and jumped in bed with him?
Got out.
The guy drug him out and started fighting him.
Okay.
And I think the wife might have called 911.
Okay.
And it was a weird call to get because the description dispatch, I don't really understand what you're trying to tell me just happened, but we're here. We'll sort this out in a minute.
That's got to be a little. I couldn't imagine laying in bed and then some dude comes and jumps in my bed.
That
I'm
you
not
didn't
sure.
invite.
Yeah,
Fred.
they didn't.
I mean,
yeah.
it might not be the first time, but
Well, I wouldn't be a dude. But, it'd be
I can't imagine somebody making it from my front door to my bedroom without getting buckshot slung at them. Just saying.
that would just be a little alarming.
we'll be back. And we are back. Oh, on our break, we had the talent comedy session up in here. Hey, have you seen this comedian? What about this one? So you got to check out Arnez J on YouTube.
And AJ Wilkerson, who's a native Floridian, is also
AJ
very
Wilkerson.
funny.
Yeah.
That's the most politically incorrect, funny stuff I've seen.
Hey, it's comedy. It's fair game.
Hey, they're
When you can make
I
fun
can watch
of
it.
listen, you can make fun of your family,
And he did.
and you can make fun of yourself. Okay, and you can make fun, and you can make fun of a group you are part of. But it's politically incorrect to make fun of anyone else.
Right.
Yeah, there's a guy that blocks you in the
So,
handicap
but if
spot.
you are one of them, you can make fun of those. And so some of the funniest comedians that I've seen today
taking
are
full advantage of that.
taking full advantage of the fact that they are handicapped, or that they have a handicapped relative, or what's the new one that went out? He's a conservative / comedian that got run off from Saturday Night Live, and then he's representing Bud Light now for some reason.
Shane Gillis.
Yeah, and he makes fun of his he's got a relative that's a
Down syndrome brother.
Down syndrome brother.
Hey.
So he's on the Down syndrome folks, and and it's his brother, his family. And we probably all go into wherever for laughing at it, but the fact is that it's he's talking about his brother.
They had floated a show on the Cartoon Network about a girl with Down syndrome, and it was going to be called Punky. And I'm
Like Punky
that's
Brewster?
Just Punky.
Well,
And I'm like, that
listen,
just doesn't sound
people
right.
with Down syndrome are some of the sweetest people
They
on the
are.
face of this
They
earth.
really
I
are.
mean, they are great people, and but
You don't
there's
make fun.
still things around it that you can find humor in. And if you
suppose,
can't make
I mean-
light of a situation, and you can't enjoy life regardless of things like that, then it's a tough life to live. So
We make fun of rednecks.
yeah,
we can do that.
Yeah, we can do. Everybody makes fun of rednecks.
That's just it.
It's
We're
just
fair
we
game
can
for
do it
everybody.
because
We are one.
So did
We
you
air
hear
one.
about the, you know why the non-binary prospector went out west? Because
I don't know that we need to.
there's gold in them there hills.
Okay. You say so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
all
them
right.
there.
That might be a step too far.
them there. That's it.
Them there hills. Is it the pronouns?
Oh, okay. I get it. I'm not into the pronoun jokes. I don't get them or it.
They.
Is it them?
Zer,
Yeah, I don't
Z-
get it.
Z.
I don't
Z.
get
Yeah,
it.
that's
Z.
the Z.
I don't
That's a good
get
one.
Zim. Maybe
What is
I don't
that?
know.
I don't know.
I don't get some. So
You get them? You don't
I
get
mean,
them?
it's
I don't
just
know,
like
man.
some kind of Babel language that they Z speak.
Man, I'm so lost on
I
things
can't-
today. I'm with you.
well, right now you got I saw on the news today where they're coming out. Women's rights groups are coming out against Biden's administration's decision to change Title IX stuff, and because of Title IX, I think was designed to just prevent
Women.
discrimination against women based on sex.
Title
And-
Title IX is for universities, and
Mm-hmm.
it basically says you can't spend more money on men's sport for if you spend X amount of dollars on men's sports in college, you have to spend an equal amount of money on women's sports, promoting women's sports, and that's why colleges or universities like FSU doesn't have let's say a men's soccer team, where some universities do have men's soccer teams, but basically because they can't afford it, because they have women's soccer, women's softball, basketball, and FSU's there's only X amount of money that can go around, so it's
put
Title
blue.
IX is to protect and to fund women's athletics, as it should be.
Yeah.
There should be,
Maybe that's why the boosters fund so much of football and basketball and baseball, is because there's a lot more money goes
Has a
into
lot
it.
that has a
and
lot to
that's
do
why
with
it comes from the boosters
That's
as
correct.
opposed to the university. I get that. That makes sense now.
So,
you know.
but yeah, the school has to spend. It's an equality thing for the school itself.
Well, based on
fund-
FSU's women's athletics performance over the years, I think it's money well spent.
I'll be honest with you, and I would rather watch. And I love baseball, and I love baseball.
Yeah.
I absolutely will not miss a women's softball game.
I like
at
watching
FSU.
women.
Oh, there's a fun.
They're it's a faster pace. It's a faster game.
And if you take
they're
a look
playing for the love of the game. Every single one of them is playing for the love of the game.
It's not like
not
they're
for
going
what's
professional.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you-
Not for what's down the road for them financially. They play for the love of the game, and I love to watch them.
Well,
Same
you
with
look at-
soccer.
And
You
not
look
only
at-
that, if you looked at the FSU softball team, I mean, they got some drop dead gorgeous women playing that.
Oh, and it's absolutely
I mean,
talented beyond
yeah,
belief.
yeah,
Great,
I mean, like-
great ball players.
Well, you look at
just,
Caitlin Clark and the WNBA,
Mm-hmm.
and coming from a university setting where she was making good money with sponsorships
NIL.
and stuff. Yeah, and now she's going into the
probably taking a
WNBA.
pay cut to go to the WNBA.
Oh, yeah, she's making like $70-something thousand a year on her contract
Yeah.
starting out. Now she's making some. She'll get sponsorships and everything because she's really popular. But people who play that sport, you know, women's that. But okay, I get it because the commercial demand. This is a capitalist society, and if more people watched women's
Right.
professional
And-
sports, they would make more money.
I don't have a bit of problem with the women's basketball league paying their players less than the men's do because there's less money garnered by ticket sales, and that's where the revenue
Well, they don't
comes.
make
It's
a
a
profit.
business.
They don't make no money.
And
It's
it's
just a
supplemented
business.
by the men's.
And nobody, I don't watch the NBA. I certainly don't watch the WNBA.
No.
But my point is that there's no, like you said, there are some pseudo women's softball leagues.
I guess.
There's one big sponsor for the whole league, and you got the green team and the purple team and the red team, and there's one big sponsor that pays them, and it just really hasn't taken off. But I think it might one day if you take the time to actually watch the game, because the game is very fast paced, and those girls are, man. You go try to hit there was Sandercock that pitched for FSU last year was throwing. She was throwing in the low 70s.
Oh, yeah.
Equate that to 105 to 110 mile an hour fastball in pro baseball. It's 72 miles an hour at 45 feet away.
Yeah.
And then professional baseball 60 feet 6 inches from the mound to home plate. And those guys throw, everybody throws 100 miles an hour that throws fastballs in the pros now. You got a lot of 100-mile-an-hour guys, but you don't have any 110-mile-an-hour guys. And those the really good softball pitchers are throwing 72 miles per hour, but the reaction time is so much less
Shorter, yeah.
because of the distance. So there's a chart, you can look it up, and she was throwing basically the equivalent of 108, 110 miles an hour as a baseball pitcher.
That's
And people some of the girls could hit it.
I know.
The fact that they're hitting 110 mile an hour reaction time wise pitch is unbelievable. I mean, so it's just watching them play is to me, we love it. And I love baseball anyway, and it's still kind of the same game. It's just played on a shorter porch.
I think women's softball is one of the sports to where if you had a guy go try to play it.
Oh, they would
he'd
embarrass.
have
If you put FSU's baseball team out there playing with the softball team, those girls would embarrass. They would embarrass the baseball team.
And the baseball team pretty good this year.
And the baseball team is excellent this year, but they would embarrass them because of the pace of the game and the
Sure.
speed. I mean, you give those guys a big, heavy baseball bat as opposed to a little lightweight.
Well, it depends
softball.
on whether the girls
And
are
it would be
playing
the other way
baseball
around.
or the guys are playing.
And it
you
would,
know,
like I said, what I was about to say, it would be the other way around if you put the girls on the baseball
the
field because
sports
of the distance.
appear similar,
Yeah,
but kind of not.
yeah.
Speaking of the Biden administration, did y'all see that Food Network special from New Guinea this week? No, sure didn't.
We're always careful about
Uncle Bob's.
Yeah, they were talking about
Or
the-
cooking Uncle
Yeah, they
Cookie
said
or
if you're
whatever
gonna eat a
it's like.
Biden, you eat it rare. I mean, and you put a little Worcestershire on there.
You know what he's talking about. So
No.
Joe Biden got up there and made a speech the other day on TV about his uncle, some nickname.
Albert or Albus. Or
It was
Amos
he had
or-
some nickname for him anyway.
Ambrose. He
Ambrose.
sounded like a Civil War general.
Yeah,
He did.
That actually what happened. His uncle his plane went down World War II at sea, somewhere they don't know where. He's gone. They had never recovered. Never found him.
Legitimately, he did go
Right.
down in the Pacific. That is
Correct.
true.
Yeah, but
Biden goes on there and go, yeah, he crashed on the island, and there was a lot of cannibals back then, and we never found the body, kind of thing, or they never found the body.
Ambrose got eaten by a cannibal.
Essentially, is what he didn't come right out and say it, but he he insinuated that.
Facebook's got all these memes with these cannibals with bones in the noses and all that. Yeah. talking about how Biden's taste and
You wonder
know,
where
and-
you wonder where he pulls that from. I mean, it's just
I don't know.
maybe it was an old
Not
family
from the
legend,
script they wrote for him.
old family legend or something. I
I
mean,
mean,
you know,
you remember Corn Pop?
he got hairy legs.
Yeah, I got a buddy of mine got banned from Wikipedia because he made a Wikipedia page with Corn Pop.
Pop.
And put all this bio about Corn Pop. And
He's a bad dude.
he's a bad dude, man.
I don't know. But apparently, they got Biden a shot collar or shot something to keep him from sniffing people. So I hadn't seen any hair sniffing.
no,
in
Yeah,
I've
you
seen
ain't
him
no
that.
hair.
He's
I did.
Okay.
Oh, so
Yep, a couple nights ago.
Who'd he
Watched
sniff?
the one of the Kennedys.
he sniffed a Kennedy?
Yeah, one of the blonde-headed Kennedy woman when the Kennedy family, has endorsed Biden.
He sniffed a bald-headed Kennedy.
No, blonde-headed.
Blonde-headed, okay.
If you'll watch, you got hope, Fred. There's hope. I mean, you can
I
go
don't
get
want him
your head
sniffing
sniffed.
around me.
Lord help us.
But yeah, the some of the Kennedy family has endorsed him as opposed to endorsing the Kennedy guy that's running.
Robert.
Yeah,
Robert,
if I
you
ever
know.
get around him, I'm on that soap I buy up here.
So Biden was standing there and he was going, "It smells funny to me. I'm not sure why they're endorsing me, but something's off."
But yeah, if you watch closely, he gets him a snootful as he's unhugging her.
And they rushed him off the stage.
What is up with that guy?
No, Joe, no.
No, bad boy.
Down, boy, down.
Yeah, it's about like a dog coming up,
You see him a little bit twitching. He getting zapped.
And the Kennedys walked off the stage talking about, "I told you we shouldn't have done that."
I heard him sniffing as we pulled away.
Oh, man.
Oh,
But we
Got
got
to bring him in the studio, let them dogs get a hold of it.
We'll be right back. And we're back. So anyway, we've talked since this terrestrial segment airs in the Wiregrass area versus everywhere else. We try to find something to talk about at the bottom of the hour that's related to that. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But so I want to remind everybody in the Dothan Wiregrass area that if you have not been to the Dothan, the location of the Talon Range of Dothan, we do offer half off your first visit. If you are just a daily visitor, you're coming out to shoot, call us first and we'll send you a link to the waiver so you can knock that out on your way out, listen to the video. Unfortunately, you're going to have to listen to me for a few minutes and then take a little test and fill out a thing. It's simple. Nobody fails. We always correct your answers if they're wrong once you get there. Anyway, you knock that out and you can sit around the house with the whole family. All going to come out to the range for the day, but it's your first visit. So on your first visit, it's half off. And so, it's, I don't know, what is that, like $15, $16 or something per person at that rate. And if you are a first responder or law enforcement, fire, EMS, law enforcement, you can, your first visit is free. And that's an offer we put out there to recognize that service. And so please come. We've had a question come up this week. Somebody went out on the range, and this applies to both of our gun ranges. When you go to a gun range and you're shooting steel, you need to look around and make sure you need to be making sure you're wearing eye protection. You need to be making sure that ear protection is always a thing, but you can go deaf if you want to. That's
eye protection should be
really
always a thing too. However,
yes, on steel it is.
You are greatly increasing your chance of injury shooting steel, and we didn't have an injury. This is not what this is about.
Nope.
But yeah, so what happened in Alabama at the range up there is that somebody used a high-powered centerfire rifle, probably a 5.56 or 300 blackout or something along those lines, to shoot steel targets at close enough range to dimple the steel, right. and that's strictly prohibited. We have steel targets at the long range rifle stuff, and it's perfectly fine to do that. But when you are, I would say, inside of 25 yards, you don't want to shoot steel targets with high-powered centerfire rifle. We allow it with .22 long rifle, pistol calibers, shotguns with birdshot is fine also, but buckshot, slugs, and high-powered rifles, high-velocity rifles, shooting steel is dangerous, which is why we prohibit it.
But you could shoot it with a 45?
Yep.
Yeah.
All day long.
Then you can
And
shoot it with a carbine. You can shoot it with a
Pistol caliber
carbine, a rifle length shooting a pistol caliber. So if you've got a 9mm pistol caliber carbine or a 357,
It's all about
you can do
velocity.
that.
It's
Yeah.
all about velocity, Fred. So a pistol caliber carbine shooting, let's say, a 9mm carbine.
357?
357.
Yeah,
Any of those, they're out of a rifle barrel, they're going to be less than, they're going to be around 1,500 feet per second.
You don't have to worry about that ricocheting on you.
It's not going to bounce back and hit you, and it's not going to fragment and hit you with enough velocity to hurt you. However, rifle bullets, a 223 that leaves the muzzle at 3,000 feet per second, it's a big difference.
And you're not only getting the bullet that hits the steel and splatters, you're also getting pieces of the steel target itself. Now, we buy rifle grade steel, and we put it at handgun distances. Now, we don't allow anybody to shoot steel closer than 10 yards. I mean, you can't walk right up on it because there, again, it's dangerous. I mean, we've done that at Pat Thomas Academy. We were training cops, and we had people getting lead fragments stuck in their face. Had to go to the walk-in clinic, get it taken out. Yeah. I mean, so it can hurt you. But at 10 yards or greater, with handgun ammunition, preferably ball ammunition or frangible ammunition, you don't want to be shooting a lot of jacketed hollow points. I mean, we don't prohibit it, but it's probably not as good an idea. It becomes dangerous for the people shooting it. Now, you sign a waiver and you acknowledge that, but when you go to steel, and we allow a pistol caliber carbine, so you've got a 9mm AR-15 down there, and that's perfectly okay. We'll listen to it and look at it and make sure that's what you're shooting. But then, your buddy sees you doing that, and they break out that 5.56 AR-15, and all of a sudden, instead of going boom, boom, it's kaboom, kaboom, and we know it. And
a lot of people don't even, and honestly, a lot of people don't realize the difference between, say, the green tip lap ammo and the regular 55 grain full metal jacket. That lap ammo has a little tiny steel dart inside. Mm-hmm. It'll bounce back and hit you, and it'll hurt.
All right.
Be back in just a second. And we're back. So the other day, I was on Preston Scott's show in the morning, the morning show with Preston Scott, on 100.7 FM with the executive producer. We got to talking about search warrants and no knock search warrants, the likelihood of search warrants, and one of the things that came up, and I've been thinking about this, is that there's definitely a conflict between law enforcement purposes and Castle Doctrine and people's ability to defend their homes. Mm-hmm. Because if the law says, and Fred, I'm opening this up for professional comments only. No. We have to be specific with you. So if and this just doesn't apply in just Florida. This is for Alabama, Georgia as well, because they also have Castle Doctrine statutes, and this is a national phenomenon. Some states allow no-knock warrants. Florida does not prescribe or allow no-knock warrants at the state level. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, I hadn't seen one in 30 years of practice. So,
the federal government can do what the federal government wants, and local law enforcement can assist them with these things.
Yeah, that's federalism.
But it's not normal to have a no-knock warrant. Normally, in a knock warrant, you've got a prescribed amount of time that they should knock and announce and allow a person to respond and all that. But the Castle Doctrine says that if someone forcibly and unlawfully enters your residence, dwelling, or occupied conveyance, this is a specific Florida statute that's similar in Alabama, and this person forcibly and unlawfully enters your residence, you can use deadly force.
Sure.
But you can't use it against law enforcement if they're in the lawful performance of their duty. But you got to know that.
You got to have some intent.
Right. You have to know that. I mean, if you're in your home and somebody's knocking on the door, sheriff's office search warrant, and they're in uniform, and they come in, they have a readily recognizable law enforcement stuff on.
Sure.
And you shoot at them when they breach your door, if you live, you're probably going to prison. Okay.
Yeah,
right?
That's why they usually have a light that they set up.
Usually,
what?
we'll have a marked car outside the residence
and
with the
then
light
they'll-
on.
they'll-
They'll
like,
typically
yeah.
put a uniformed law enforcement officer in a regular uniform
Right.
near the door, and they typically will do the knocking and announcing. But remember being part of these in operational plans. You try your best to make sure that they know who's there. And the only reason that people would go in, and I think the only exigent circumstances that would exist would be if there was imminent loss of life, threatened there, or if they were compromised and all of a sudden somebody was going for a weapon. Typically, it's not the loss of evidence, although sometimes, that's okay, we're compromised, they're heading to the bathroom, they're going to flush it, and we have, we breach and make entry and go. But they've already recognized that it's law enforcement, which is why they're going to the toilet to flush it up.
Yeah.
So then you're compromised and you go in. You've made your presence known. So the concern is that a citizen can lawfully shoot at someone in their home who breaks in their home. Now, law enforcement can execute said warrant, knock on the door, announce themselves, and then breach the home forcibly with a warrant signed by a judge and then go into the house. And they are perfectly within their legal right and responsibilities to go in and serve said warrant. So if I'm laying in bed I don't wear my hearing aids at night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I've seen you when you don't have those.
And
on.
I can't hear without them very well. And I don't wear my glasses at night. Okay, so I'm laying in my bed, and all of a sudden I hear ka-toom, and somebody's running through the house, and I wake up, and I see somebody coming through the living room with a gun. I'm going to shoot them, period. Now, the law enforcement officer who has decided to come serve a warrant at my house for some nefarious thing that I've done, or they're at the wrong address or something.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
They have. they are
You
for
at
sure
the
at
wrong
the wrong house. That might be the address on the warrant, but it's
You
the
at
wrong
the wrong
one.
house.
So they're outside going, sheriff's office search warrant, sheriff's office search. They do it for 15 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever, and they're really careful. I'm laying in the bed with ambient sounds playing in my ear, and so I don't. Occasionally, my wife has been known to slightly snore, just a little bit, just a touch. It's a real feminine sound. It shouldn't bother me, but
My bulldog snores like a freight train. So
yeah, and I'm sure I do too, but I don't keep me up. And
I have snored that much. I have snored that loud where I woke myself up doing
well, I
it.
think I have too, but so
What was that?
So the point being is, I didn't hear all that. I get up and I shoot back. Okay, well, I'm within
shoot
my
first.
lawful right to do so because and they are within their lawful right to come in. So what do you do? Well, and Preston said, well, what is your advice? And I said, well, my advice is that homeowners be really, really careful and do everything they can to identify the targets that they shoot at, which is why I recommend you don't just keep a gun next to your bed, you keep a flashlight.
I've got a light on mine that it's a light that's under the pistol.
Weapon mounted light.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Weapon mounted light,
And I just flip that on. And it's also got a laser dot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got
Yep.
both. So I'm
So
gonna
they
see.
know exactly where to shoot to get you.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
But yeah,
But
so
yes, you're right. Target
prob-
identification.
Yeah, target identification. But in the wee hours of the morning, with not wearing your glasses, you've just been woken up from a good lit elf sleep.
yeah.
I
Which is
don't
typical,
care
man.
what kind of light you have under that kind of stress. You get sprung up out of bed. You ain't all there.
That's
you
why
know?
the dot's on there, because I weighed that. I learned that here about don't have the laser in your home protection because it identifies where you are. The flip side to that is if you're a pistol shot like I am,
You need all the help you
I
can
need
get.
all the help I can get. I mean,
That's fine. Target identification is the key, but also my concern goes out to law enforcement, and a warning to law enforcement is that a lot of times when you're young and you get put on a team, or you're in a unit and you get on a task force, and it's like, hey, we're going to go out here, and you get in kind of bulldozer mode, where we're going to push through anything and everything, and we're indestructible, and we're going to go do this stuff. And you need to take a step back. And this comes with some maturity and age and experience. Take a step back and realize that a little bit of weed down the toilet, or a little, loss of some evidence, make your case so that if you don't find it, that you've still got a case. You've got a good case in place, even without evidence seized at the scene. That's all icing on the cake. do the best you can to build a good case so that you can take that extra time to get in and to serve said warrant without getting yourself hurt or hurting someone, and recognize that people don't just know who you are, and you wear all the cool stuff. Let's black out and wear all the and then I don't want to look like a cop. I want to look like some
with a little tiny patch on your shirt that says police.
Yeah.
Here's the rest of that, Charlie. Is that there is a reason that there is an amendment to the Constitution of the United States that deals with unlawful or search and seizure.
Sure.
Right?
Fourth
Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason it's the Fourth Amendment. It's because our homes are, in fact, our castles. That was established long before the Constitution and English common law.
Well, sure, that's why
And
the
it
Third
is
Amendment exists, too.
It is, yeah, and it is a serious thing when you go stepping through somebody else's threshold of their home uninvited.
Yeah, that was.
There is no more serious, to me, there is no more serious
Well, you
thing
look at the
that
first
the
four
government does.
amendments. I mean, what they're dealing with. All right, so religion,
Yep.
speech, expression, that sort. Second, guns. Third, keep the soldiers out of your house.
Yeah, you can't house soldiers.
Yeah.
And
There's
the fourth one is you can't go in somebody's house without a real good reason.
Right.
And my point is that we see this all the time where search warrants are served on people's houses when you sit there and go, well, if you'd have just waited till 8:30 in the morning and done a little bit of intelligence, that guy would have walked out to
Yeah.
go get in his car,
Uh-huh.
or he would have gone to work and you know where he works, or he would have done whatever his routine is. If he doesn't know you're coming, kind of thing. Just give it some time. Take him go arrest the guy, sure, but don't. You're just.
I give you an example a few weeks ago. I mean, this guy has taken the opportunity to come hire me, have me contact law enforcement because I know the warrant's coming, and I've called and said, hey, when the warrant comes out, let me know.
I'll bring him to you.
I'll turn him in. They don't do it.
Yeah.
And I'm baffled. Why would you do that?
Yeah,
Put yourself at risk, one.
absolutely.
It doesn't make any sense.
We'll be back in just a minute. And we're back. Finishing that, we were talking about search warrants and citizens' rights and law enforcement responsibilities. Law enforcement doesn't have rights to do things; they have responsibilities and they have authority. Citizens have rights, and that's my interpretation of things. We have rights. Law enforcement has responsibility, and they have to exercise their authority with responsibility. Now, I was very pleased on the operation I was involved with the other day to hear the captain on our team be very specific about how we're going to be slow, methodical. We're going to make sure people know who we are, anything that we do. And I was sitting there nodding my head going,
It's the best way to avoid the stuff that we're talking about.
Exactly. And I was very pleased to hear that, and I'm going, that's awesome, because that's not what I've always heard.
And does that apply to, like, in this day and time, you got terrorists. If you know there's a known terrorist in a building, does that still, or is there leeway now you just go and take it out? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
How
that's not a warrant issue. If there's a shootout going, yeah, you go in. Those are exigent
Or they
circumstances.
just know,
Well,
okay, I was wondering how that
active
worked.
threats, like active shooters, active threat, current, a known terrorist, someone who's committing arson, or someone who's committing,
You don't
committed
need-
a bomb
need a
threat or
warrant for
something.
that.
There's no warrant for that. It's exigent circumstances, and that person is subject to be. I mean, I can tell you right now that we've trained, if there's somebody with a bomb vest on and they're threatening to blow themselves up, our first thing is to shoot them.
Yeah.
Is to stop them so they can't activate it.
A lot of this conversation is stemming from the situation in, I think it was St. Louis, where you had the guy that was buying guns on Friday, like a lot of guns on Fridays. They go in and buy 50 guns for the gun store on Friday, do the background check, show up at the gun show on Saturday, and turn around and sell them, dealing without a license, doing bad things, whatever else. The federal government did a no-knock warrant on him at his house at 6:30 in the morning, and while he's asleep.
Well, I haven't seen if it was no knock or not. I couldn't find if it was no knock. It said they served a warrant.
Yeah.
at his house. It had to be served between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. They showed up obviously early,
Right.
and he engaged them in a firefight. Now he did in 3 years. He did 150 guns. He did 24 Glock 45s, buying them at retail, saying that he was buying them for himself, buying them at retail, going to the gun show, selling them for a profit above retail to people without background checks.
That were doing bad things with it. A lot of the guns he was selling.
And 6
guns
showed up being used in crimes that he sold. He knowingly and intentionally provided guns to people that didn't get background
But they did a
checks.
search warrant at his house at 6 o'clock in the morning, and this guy had a job. He was the director of the airport.
Yeah,
up there.
that's
So he
refreshing.
had a job. It's not like he was a street criminal, whatever. He had a job. They probably could have met him at the front door of the airport and said, "Come with us," and alleviated the fact that now he's dead and the federal agent I don't know if the federal agent was killed or just shot. I think it was
I think
just
he was
shot.
shot.
But anyway, you got some cop shot. You got the bad guy dead. They can't try him. All of this stuff that probably had they not
Would have been done another way.
had they not been a little bit overzealous in trying to make a point. And we've seen the federal government, especially federal law enforcement, make those points with political people and stuff where they do
that's
these raids.
offensive
And
to me.
Right.
It is, they're like the
You have
Roger
to-
Stone issue.
Yeah,
and-
like-
right,
yeah.
where you're
and
going
the
to
guy
78.
that was protesting at the abortion clinic. I mean, come on. I
Right,
mean,
and they're
they show
doing
up with his
these. They're
family.
doing these things to make a show out of it. They're calling CNN. Hey, we're gonna fix to go hit whose house at this time of the morning, and y'all get the cameras ready stuff. And we've seen that time and again in the last few years. So
Yeah.
that's the.
Well, it goes back to David Koresh. It goes back to
Yeah.
all these things where you
Waco.
look at, and we're
that's
cops,
kinda
and we're
what it
looking at
started
it going,
in Waco.
man, I wouldn't have done it like that.
David
That's
Koresh-
not the best way to
Gonzalez.
do
The
it.
federal agents that hit the Waco complex, and a guy that I know from the ATF was killed there, that interned at FSU Police Department. Rob Williams was one of the guys that was killed at Waco, one of the ATF agents. He's somebody I know. But they were standing behind David Koresh in a store in town with hours before they hit the compound. If you wanted to arrest David Koresh, he's right there in public where you're not going to have a standoff and a shootout and all this other stuff. Put the
And then you
cuffs
go
on him.
knock on the door at the compound to serve your search warrant, and they don't have their fearless leader there telling them to burn the place down or do anything. I mean, I don't understand. And like I put it back, well, we're in bulldozer mode. We've
This
got
is our
this.
plan. We're
going to
stick
go do
to it. We're going to go do
Yeah,
this.
we're gonna go
and-
do it.
And it's going to be a show, and it's going to be, and
Need
it's
a little more horse sense.
Yeah, this is hard to segue from burning
Yeah, so
down
tell us about
compounds
the
to fishing.
fish at the.
So
we're to
you know,
fish
So-
biting to get off
so-
of this subject.
I hear the bite is on fire.
Well, I
mean,
tell you what, talk about Lake Talquin first. The crappie are biting on Lake Talquin. Still got some bedding. I was told they'd be catching some out in about 15 foot of water out there where the creek channel is adjacent to the river channel. Still catching some in the evenings around lily pads using jigs and minnows on Lake Talquin. The bass are actually biting out there too. The shad started spawn, so they got the shad spawn going on. And the water's a little above full pool out there because all the rain we had last week.
Well, there's still water.
Yeah.
I hadn't got a report this morning on Friday, but a couple of days ago you could have gone out and fished on the road over to the skeet field. So
That's right. That's right.
So have they washed a lot of the grubs off of the shore? Are they in shallow right now? What's
Yeah,
up with
there's
that?
a lot of fish moving shallow. I'll tell you what, on Lake Seminole, I was on Lake Seminole this week, and had several trips. Really caught a bunch of fish. One day we caught 30 bass. That mud, I had to stay ahead of the muddy water. It was coming down, and the next day we caught like 15, and then the lake got muddy. Then it got kind of tough, but we still caught some fish.
But it hadn't settled down yet, or?
No, it's just now starting to. The hooch is a little bit, just a heavy stain to it now. The flint's a little bit more muddier than the hooch, and Spring Creek is as muddy as I've ever seen it. You know,
all the local South Georgia rain.
and all that rain from that week ago rained all the way to
I
Atlanta.
bet. I bet it's red.
And that's actually white looking.
Oh, really?
In the creek, yeah.
Huh.
The flint's kind of reddish color, and then the like I said, the Chattahoochee River arm of the lake, it's finally getting. I think that's the best water quality on the lake right now. But the fish are starting as this water starts to clear. The bass bite's going to really get going. The topwater bite, your buzz baits, your frogs, that type of thing. There's still some fish bedding. You'll have the shad spawn starting on Seminole too. And then as we go into May, that's when your brim will start bedding. The shell cracker have been bedding up there, and it's just been hard to see them. The lake's so muddy,
find 'em, yep.
you know, because you can see them when they're on the bed. But as that water clears, I'm really looking forward to getting some folks on some big shell cracker.
So
Yeah, let's talk about that rod right
I
there.
showed Paul this.
That is sweet.
A friend of mine who's also a customer I was talking with about bass fishing, and I was talking about the old Lou's speed stick rods that me and my granddaddy used to fish with in the river, throw crankbaits with, and he goes, I think I got one of them old rods at the house. I don't fish with anymore. I'm like, he goes, you want it? I said, yeah. This is from probably the late 70s, early 80s, this rod is, and he gave it to me, and it needed new eyes on it, and I brought it up here and took it to Jim over here at the Rod and Reel Repair place, and this is an indicative setup of so it's an Abu Garcia 5500C reel with a Lou's Fuji speed stick rod made in Japan.
Yep.
When this was high tech stuff,
Sure was.
and I had even more high tech stuff done to it. And you can't see this on the radio, obviously, but if you're watching the show, Charlie, you see that eye right there. And normally, if you were to bend an eye down
Ow, hey.
on a rod, it would
Oh,
worry you
spring
greatly.
loaded.
Nickel
That is
titanium.
ingenious right there.
Yeah, it's nickel
Man, that hurt my
titanium.
feelings when you did that.
Nickel titanium wire. And what's really wacky about this thing is it has a ceramic guide on the inside, a little ceramic ring so that your line flows through there. These rings are replaceable. So what you do is
So you just pop that out and put it on
yeah.
there?
So what you do is you spray something cold on there, like keyboard cleaner, the compressed air that gets really cold or whatever. You can spray that wire with that compressed air, and it gets cold. And instead of contracting like most metal does when it gets cold, this gets bigger.
No.
So it releases that ceramic eye that's in there, and you pop the broken eye out, and you put a new one in, and then you warm it up. You can just warm it up with your hand after that, and it shrinks down and grabs on to the ceramic eye in there. But all of these eyes are that way.
And Jim can do that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
I'm bringing some rods.
the downside to that is somebody gave me the rod. The eyes are this is $100 set of eyes on this thing, but talking
Yeah,
about modern
but-
tech,
You'll
lifetime
never have to
a
replace it.
lifetime set of eyes on this
You got a
rod.
really good quality rod.
And so yeah, if
I
you
got
got
some. I'm gonna have him do mine.
and it's worth the money in that if somebody steps on it, breaks it, whatever else, it's fully replaceable without having to go through the trouble of rewrapping the rod and retying all the,
So quick shout out to Jim next door.
Yeah,
in our,
Jim does
right
great-
next with our
great
gunsmith.
job.
Yeah, he
So
does.
we have a rod and reel repair guy here. He's his own independent company
Yep.
that's under our roof here. He can do fantastic, do custom builds. He can do repairs of all this old stuff. And our gunsmith is right next door. And
back in town in full swing and
Full swing.
wide open.
And getting his stuff turned out pretty quick compared to a lot of folks. And if you have something in Dothan you want to bring by the shop, we can bring it here to the gunsmith as well.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for the week. See y'all.
Y'all.